forward with it, but I have a question for Counselor. Some different occasions I have stopped and picked up trash on the roadway, and I see an address there. Is there any way we can do an ordinance that would fine people for littering?
Well, you know, you've got state statutes now. The problem is that if you have a piece of mail there that's got somebody's address and you see it on the side of the road, that in and of itself doesn't prove that they littered, right? I mean, it makes a lot of sense, that's probably where it came from, but that's not really evidence. You can't really generally do a case off of that. Because, you know, what we used to always talk about was people would have bags of trash, and then if you open the trash up, you go through and you find a bunch of letters to somebody, and so obviously that's their trash. You know, we can try that, and I don't think, you know, we can certainly try it, but I can tell you in the past, that's been the issue.
You know, do you think, there may be some other municipalities may have done that, or?
I don't know. I really don't know. We can look into it. Happy to look into it.
Mr. Harper, hasn't the sheriff's department actually sent summonses and citations to some people in the column, where he's talking about like big bags of trash where you found it was obviously?
Our response has been, when we send a deputy out, we dig through the trash ourselves, we identify the mail like you're talking about there, and then we go knock on their door, and we give them an ultimatum to come clean up the area, or we're gonna file charges with the state attorney's office. Here's the thing, for it to become a misdemeanor crime, you got to have 15 pounds right off the bat. So I got to prove that 15 pounds of this trash or that trash belongs to this person or that person, and that they are in fact the ones that put it there. I can tell you that the state attorney's office is not going to entertain any type of littering unless we're looking at something on an industrial level where you're talking about tonnage. I mean, it's really frustrating. There's a couple of places that are extremely bad in this community, up off of Pineapple, you know, down here off of the backside of Farm Road. You know, and it just don't make a lot of sense that we'll find the trash at the Pineapple site up there that'll have addresses from this end of the county. And then we find trash down here that has addresses from the north end of the county. So, I mean, I don't know how many sites that these people are driving by to dump their trash, but they take it from their end of the county and put it on the other end of the county. You know, short of catching someone in the act, you know, it's just really tough. You know, and an ordinance, you know, may give us a little more teeth if we approach it on the same level as we did with the boat parking.
Civil citation.
Yes, sir, but there again, you gotta have, you gotta have that back end support.
Well, like
to prosecute that ordinance.
It's kind of hard to find a 15-pound bag of garbage.
I tell you, you'd be surprised at what you find at just them two spots. Everything from animal carcasses, to, material from where it looks like a house or mobile home's been remodeled, gutted, they just pull it there and dump it out. You know, I don't know if it's just a convenience, or if they're trying to circumvent fees, from the dump, because I know that if you're gonna haul off certain type of material, you know, you can't drop that material at our collection sites. You have to actually take it to, the dump. I've had conversations with Mr. Kaufman, and, you know, and he's been great with it. He's actually been willing to, the property owner, you know, try to get some fees waived. You know, I mean, obviously we can't send inmates on private property to pick up this stuff. The county employees can't go on the private property and clean this stuff up, but, you know, that we have had some discussions on possible solutions to at least try to help the folks, because I can tell you, it's really heartening. I'm not talking about a deer bag of corn that, you know, that people complain about the back of the truck. If you haven't, I encourage you to ride to those two locations and just take a look at that. I mean, it's really sad, and I know our community's better than that.
Yeah, I think everybody here would agree that there's litter on the sides of the road now. I've never seen it this bad before.
Yes, sir.
It's bad.
Yes, sir. And you know, in the cleanup day, that's fantastic. You know, we had success with that last year. You know, we participated in that. We had teams, actually made it was work, but we made it fun. But
right.
We had teams, and we spent, you know, half the day or the day cleaning up our assigned areas. But, you know, the discouraging part of that was if you went back the very next day, or even that afternoon, where 20 people had just walked 7, 8 miles picking up bags of trash,
Yeah.
it's right back there again. I'm talking the same afternoon and the next day.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a constant. You know, I think it's an education thing. You know, I know that in meetings in the past, we've talked about that here. You know, I think we need to push it at our youth level, the education side of it.
Right.
And you want to talk about some good community service opportunities. You know, I wouldn't be too comfortable with folks just walking down the highway, but I would be very comfortable with folks going to these type of locations, of course, with the property owner's permission, and getting their hands in some of that stuff. I can tell you, my deputies love it. It's, you know, it's really, it's an issue, and there is no easy answer or resolve for it. And then while I'm here real quick on the community service, at the sheriff's office in the past, we've been able to satisfy some community service hours, both with adults and with juveniles, our youth. Obviously, there's some restrictions of where we can utilize folks. It's usually out at the administrative office, out on 90 in between the schools, our investigative compound, which is behind, and that being one is we can't have the citizens in contact with the inmates or near the inmates, so that eliminates anything at the jail. Our best months is always the summer months, especially for our youth, because our administrative offices are, you know, they close down at 5 o'clock, so by the time you know, a teenager is out of school at 3 o'clock, that only gives them 2 hours. Well, if they've got, you know, 25 hours to do, or 50 or whatever it may be, that's a lot of days. But the summer, you know, we've had some success where some of the youth have actually came and, you know, through their arranged through the courts, you know, if they're on probation, through their probation officers, and in agreement and approval with Sheriff Stewart, that we've had youth out at our administrative offices, you know, and they're doing, you know, cleaning, mopping, taking out trash, picking up the grounds, and it's worked out real well. We've been able to, I think, teach a little bit of maybe some life lessons, that, you know, the differences between consequences and punishment. Sheriff Stewart has been very supportive in that, and I feel strongly that he would continue to be very supportive. And you know, that'd be an option for the sheriff's office to assist with some of this community service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can tell you, as a former juvenile probation officer for 30 years in these 3 counties, Taylor, Jefferson, and Madison. When I worked in Jefferson County the last 10 years, that was one of the things we did without my probationers that had community service hours ordered by the court in Jefferson County. And several Saturdays, I was able to get the sheriff to give me one of their old vans they weren't using. And I actually took the van, was marked, and we took road signs up saying, you know, men working, you know, paperwork, and actually had juveniles in orange vests, just like we've been using when we did their work day, and actually walked them down the side of the road, and some people said I had a chain gang, but anyway, we cleaned up several the secondary roads, like the one going to Joaquina, and some of them not the major highways like 90 or 19 and things. So it can be done. I did it on a regular basis, and I can tell you, I had very few re-offenders. They walked some hot Saturdays, and I did this during the summer too. So I can tell you it works. So I would recommend, and as far as the adult court, I would recommend that we do whatever we need to do, drop some policies and rules to do that. Would be my recommendation.
Well, I helped with it the last time, so I'll help with it again.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Do we need a motion to have you draw some type of release or waiver?
No, and in fact, I think I've done this for I've done a volunteer release. That term is familiar to me, so I think I may just have one. But anyway, I think probably the next step is if we're going to do that, we probably need to have a written policy on how we're gonna do it, and then we'll do that in the release and just tell us to bring that back to y'all for approval.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, the probation officer basically said they would need to be under some type of supervision.
Yes, they do.
And of course, they recommended the waiver.
Yep.
And we do have the staff without putting any additional burden on the budget, correct? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we currently have a no littering ordinance in the county where there would be a possible fine if someone was caught littering?
I think as Mr. Reed stated earlier, there is a state no littering, I don't know, what is it, $500?
It is, and we also have an ordinance, but the issue is not drafting the rules, the issue is catching and prosecuting. You know, because
Well-
again, it's the evidentiary part, you can find a letter in a trash bag, but it's hard to turn that into a.
Right. I know though, a lot of the scenario out by us off of 255 is we have a lot of truck traffic. And a lot of people, it is an education thing because they throw stuff in the back of their truck, in their bed, thinking that they're keeping it off the road. Then they drive and you can see it just exiting, you know, if you're driving behind it, it's not hard to see. And I think that if we had posted, if our signs, you know, it says slow down or whatever was on the roadways, had those little signs that said, fines for littering, it might have an impact, because it certainly had an impact with the United States. I mean, back in the 80s and the 70s, when we had such a littering problem in this country, posted signs and fines did help curb some of those activities. It's not hard to see something blow out of it, just take a couple of tickets, and believe me, the whole county would be aware of it.
If I could just speak on the $500 fine, I'm not certain where that originated, probably from seeing it in another county or an ordinance somewhere. But I can tell you the state statute does not read a $500 fine. The state statute reads, first offense up to 15 pounds is a civil infraction punishable by a $25 fine.